brought together to maybe begin that process. And when I say I rebuke, I don't mean any harm. But what I say is that I rebuke any negativity. I rebuke that we will not move forward. And I say we, I'm in New York, 3,000 miles away. But this is home and will always be home. And this Laney College that Miss Ruth Beckford helped me to start and write the degree, and there's only 2 dance courses that have been added to that degree that she helped me to develop at this college, that this will move forward. And I say rebuke, I rebuke any negativity. I rebuke us not coming together to make this move forward. Like Linda Faith Johnson is saying, it is what we decide it to be. We have, like she taught me, first God and our spirituality. Our mind, our bodies, and us, you have to work with yourself, and then your family and your community. Because if you're not whole, how are you going to bring along somebody else? Furthermore, this collective need not to divide. It needs to come together and move forward, to keep and multiply. And like she was saying, in 81, my daughter was born, and before she, Ruby Inez Williams now was Norman, is now the operations director of Asase Yacht. Her first African dance came from Linda Faye Johnson. I was taught by Miss Beckford. She showed us Africa, I think it was Ballet Africain. And she said, that is classical dance. That's the classical African dance. She was the one who told me that back in the 60s. And from that, that's where I learned about African and classical African dance. And Linda Faye Johnson was the first to teach my daughter, who will be 33 September, started learning that classical African dance. And that came from the spirit and the mind and the body working together. We're here as a body, and we have to move it forward. And you have to keep the foundation. And like Ms. Beckford said, if you know, when you need to know when to sit down, if you're tired, you need to go get an infusion or go sit down. But you got to keep, there's some of us that want to keep the energy going, that can move it forward. The people here move it forward, mind, body, and spirit, that I was taught that we have to have. And we have separated the spirit from our dance, trying to hide something, trying to cover it up. My daughter will be an Akan priestess, graduating on July 19th as an Akan priestess, because her husband is that. Guess what? I will be there. I'm bringing family there on the 19th because she's graduating. But guess what? They've connected the mind, body, spirit, and order. And this body here then must move to make an order that makes us more marketable. Because there's enough to be marketable. But you do have to know when to sit down if you're tired and if you don't have the positive things to say. And like if the Indian, to me, it's a fad right now. You understand, it is gone. Yes, it's the spirituality, but I have seen it being on the East Coast and seeing the African diaspora in Medgar College, the university for CUNY that I work for, that every aspect of the diaspora was there. What you do here will direct and the Ethnic Dance Festival. Because I remember when the Ethnic Dance Festival was primarily us. If I'm not mistaken, you know, so that there's no reason for it not to go back to that, because you're here. You make up that foundation. You can make a difference. All you have to do is do it and do it right, and call on the Creator while you're doing it.
In 1978 is when Ethnic Dance Festival started. We started doing major productions in 1975. We were much more ahead before Ethnic Dance Festival. We can still do that. That's all what I'm saying. We cannot do that wishing it. We need to proactively organize. That is what is needed.
I think, too, there's